Good morning and welcome to Judging by the Cover, the gaming review show where I rate games that I have not played and score them based on the store pages. Today, we are wrapping up Sports Month with one more Winter Olympic event, curling, by way of Pro Stone Curling by s2e8, released in December of 2025. Oh boy. Okay, you know what? I'm ready to get called out for not having really made anything worthwhile in my life while I'm talking about this. Let's get on to part one of our review, the trailers. Now, we get a single trailer with a total of 2 minutes of gameplay. And yeah, that's really it. 2 minutes of what the game actually looks like. And you know what? Points for honesty and accuracy, though there is major lack of basically any fanfare or flashiness to draw me in. Granted, the game is specifically advertised as a curling simulation made to try to be as accurate to the actual sport as possible. But it just doesn't have much shown here to draw in an audience outside of that one promise. Part two with our screenshots, we get very much the same thing of looking exactly what the game promises. Shows still frames of what the games look like, complete with directional tracks, the sliders, the menus, and what the game looks like. Now, I do harp a lot on how many games advertising lacks hint of menu displays or character stats. So that is something at the very least. Uh Again, points for the honesty on that. We're moving right along with this. We really don't have a whole lot to go on there. So we're going to go straight to the store description and see what exactly it says. Now, there was an update on January 26th, a little more than a month after the game came out. And the update does tell us that there was some physics updates, new aiming guides. You can customize games to have 4, 6, or 8 ends to it. Choose the scoring style, more logos, and some bug fixes. You know, the general stuff that you would expect out of a lasting game. Pro Stone Curling is the most realistic curling game there is. Now, I hope that that is actually true. They can't necessarily go off of the description, but I'm hoping that, the most accurate has some meat to it. With the winter games coming up, learn the rules of the game and the feel the wait. Okay, back up. With the winter games coming up, learn the rules of the game and the thrill of making that perfect throw. Yes, it is actually written like that. Now, I feel like grammatically it could have been fixed with a comma, the feel, comma, and the thrill of making that perfect throw. But no, it says get to know learn the rules of the game and the thrill of making that. The seriously, game developers, get proofreaders to check these store pages for you, please. Play the game casually while you work, browse, or anything you want. Should you really be encouraging people to play video games at work? Just saying. Okay, but you know what? That's not about the game itself. This is just some funny store page stuff. It says 3 game modes: career mode, choose your country and stone color, upgrade your aim, curling, and sweeping skills along the way, playing a series of different teams along the way to the top. Now, that's something that wasn't highlighted in the trailer or the screenshots with the career mode, where you actually have to upgrade your skills as you progress. That actually makes it seem like there is at least a game mode of progression. That's kind of cool. Versus mode, play against a computer or another human, but no online multiplayer. They do specifically say they have no online multiplayer. So picking this up on Steam, that could be a little like, how many of you are sitting, in front of your computer at home or your laptop or your gaming computer, your gaming rig, like with other people right there side by side with you at your desk or in your recliner or in your bed while you're holding your Steam Deck. That's kind of a weird structure to set for the game. Challenge mode. One throw challenges. Try and recreate famous curling throws to appreciate the skill behind it all, and some fun throws just for fun. Again, the grammar got a little weird there, but that's another cool thing. Like having this thing where you maybe have to work through some trick shots or some unusual scenarios, especially ones that have come up in actual games and matches between players and teams. And the Steam said three modes, but here's a fourth one: editor mode. See a curling shot in real life that you want to try, or do you just have a wacky idea? Set it up yourself and take a shot. So that's kind of a cool, the editor mode. It would be even cooler if they did tout a little bit of online multiplayer and set it up where you could share those editor situations, kind of like Mario Maker kind of situation where you share your stages, you share your custom levels, and see how other people enjoy them. Curlers, if you'd like to see your team or club's logo on or around the rink, email me and I'll try to get it in an update ASAP. That's actually kind of cool. Like different teams or individuals, maybe somebody wants to play like with their own icon in the thing. That could be a cool thing to add in if they make that possible, or even make it where you can just upload your own thing from your device into the game, or have the game like read images from a folder to act as logos. That could be kind of a cool thing, especially for the single player aspect of it. Now, we've gone through three parts about this in, wow, 6 minutes. Normally the reviews take a little longer than this because there's so much more to look at. Um, Game analysis. So graphics. The graphics are incredibly simple. We get basically a single lane here. They do tell us that there's game modes to have multiple directions coming in. I don't see that on the screen here. I feel like if we had an extra trailer or even some screenshots showing that, that would be kind of a cool thing to see, especially if there's the multiplayer aspect where different players are coming from different sides into the center of the game field. Um, it's just something to show more variety in the game modes because the trailer and the screenshots show very little of that. But the graphics, even though it is that simple, it is very minimal, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. You don't, I guess, I know I harped on the lack of fanfare and flashiness to it, but at the same time, the focus on the game's core mechanics and physics working is really obviously the core focus here, especially when we get to look at the price. Uh, sound the sound is practically non-existent. We can hear the clicking and the stock audio of crowd applause, like it was pulled from a sitcom's, you know, stock audio files or something. Right there, actually, it just happened on screen as I was talking about it. How good is that timing? But again, that maybe isn't the worst thing, but it would, I feel like even just a little bit of chill, like lo-fi music in the background would be kind of nice considering the kind of vibe it's going on here. The gameplay, it does have its game modes. Dog's got to get some water. It does have game modes to go ahead and take care of what it needs. Um, but again, the gameplay is very minimal. It's exactly what you're looking at with just the straight up curling itself. You do see on the screen some of the computer player versus human player, and how the human player has like a little icon of the squiggling going on in front of the puck or iron, or I admit I'm not educated in all the terminology for curling, so sue me on that one. But the gameplay is there. You can see the physics at work. You can see the little bit of numbers and scoring. So the gameplay, it's serviceable. Now, the UI and menus, we do see a little bit of that. The UI all over the screen with the tracks, some of the menus and options in there. We do see a little bit of it. So I'm going to give them points for at least showing that kind of stuff, which I have said on so many reviews, I feel like is lacking, especially games with a lot of heavy RPG mechanics and you don't even get a shot of a character's stat screen or something. Being able to see, your camera angle icons and other stuff like that on here, it actually looks like they are giving us something to look at and judge the menus by. So I do appreciate that. It's very simple, laid out, easy to read. And I'm sure as you learn about the game of curling itself, all of it would even make even more sense as you play a little bit, even if you just do a few rounds at a time. Now, the pricing, This is where I actually have to give the developer some points. The pricing for this is $3.99 on Steam. Not on sale, that is just the full price, $4 on Steam. That is extremely low cost. So for somebody who wants to, go ahead and get a little bit of a simulator like this, I could easily see dropping that $4. I am not going to be buying this at all. Even if it were to go on sale for $1, I still wouldn't be buying this. If they went and did like a giveaway and gave away free copies of it, I probably wouldn't get it, but that's because I'm not exactly jumping on playing curling myself. But for the people who are following curling in the Olympics and maybe want to see, like, try their hand at the mechanics of some of these trick shots and some of the games and even the career mode, I could see a lot of enjoyment coming from that career mode. So no hate on anybody that is enjoying that and playing that. By all means, if this is the kind of thing that you want to see and you feel like you could get it, it could be an excellent learning tool for people that want to know more about the sport, especially revolving around the Winter Olympics, which by the time this episode airs is pretty much concluding, but we will have future Winter Olympics. We will have more curling events. So it's not like this thing is ever going to go completely out of relevance, so to say. So the pricing, absolutely fair. Not something that I'm going to be buying, but for people that are interested in this kind of thing, for the minimalist look, I cannot scoff at a $4 price tag. Now, if they were charging 10, 50, if they were charging $10 for it, I might turn up my nose at it and be like, $10 for this, and you couldn't even have some background music. Like, really, come on, guys. But $4 for basically a developer, a small indie developer, whoever s2e8 is, you know, get that little bit of bread for it that you can. Now, I do skip over this section a fair bit because some games just don't show up on other eShops, and I am not looking at the Switch eShop to see if it's available there. So go ahead, yell at me for failing to do my due diligence. However, I did have one thought about what kind of platform this would be ideal on. And yes, with its vertical layout like this, like we're seeing here, it is on the Google Play Store. For anybody with Apple products, maybe check iOS itself, see if it's on those stores too. But it is on Google Play Store. The Google Play Store, for differences, it does say on the Google Play Store it has 4 game modes, while the Steam says 3, but it has the exact same information on both pages. So it seems like when they were saying 3 game modes on Steam, they just didn't count the editor mode as a game mode, even though, it basically is. The Google Play Store on mobile does say that it contains ads with in app purchases, and it's a free download on the Google Play Store. Now, I'm not about to download it to find out what the paid content is on it, but I am hoping, fingers crossed, please, s2e8, do not disappoint me on this. I'm hoping that the only purchase in there is a $4 purchase to remove ads, because that would be the same as the Steam store page here. Anything more than that, and I feel like you're just milking something at that point. Um, let's get into our final part here for my rating. I know I came into this with a pretty negative mindset because I was trying to find a curling game that might have some flashiness, some bells and whistles, something to make it look exciting and riveting. And I found Pro Stone Curling, which looks extremely bare bones. It looks like something somebody would have made a as a school project in a game design class to show that they can make a functional game. um there's really not much of it in the way of marketing here. But at the same time, for what they're promising it as being a curling simulator, accurate to the sport and to the game, with a little bit of a challenge mode feature, the fact that it has a career mode to it is actually kind of interesting. That they have a skill progression to the game. And the fact that they do have an editor where hopefully maybe they implement something at some point where you can share your edited stages, maybe even if it's just like share a QR code or something to scan it and it loads the stage for you for editor stages. See some cool stuff like that. I would like to see that kind of a thing from this. That might raise it a little bit. But overall, oddly enough, I'm giving this a 6 out of 10, specifically for not for being an amazing, like, oh my gosh, this is a great game. Obviously, 6 is not a super high score, but despite the game looking very bare bones and basic, it looks like it does what it sets out to do and what it promises. And again, I hope the Google Play Store that it's in app purchase is just no more than $4 to remove ads, because then it's the same as the Steam page there when you're buying it for $4. So if anybody else has checked it on the Google Play Store, please let me know down there, because I kind of don't want to download extra stuff on my phone that I'm only downloading to look at and then never touch again, because then, so this is whole thing. But it does seem like kind of an interesting thing. I think an online multiplayer, especially for mobile, would be a thing to do. But at least on mobile, you also have a pass and play kind of thing where you take your shot and you hand your phone to somebody else. I know stuff like Star Realms also has that feature, but Star Realms also has online multiplayer for that purpose. I feel like this game could really benefit from something like that, even though I don't imagine that there's a huge market for this kind of thing, but at least for the tiny market that there is, I would imagine for it. Like there's 9 user reviews, and on Steam, those 9 reviews are actually positive. So take that for what it is. If you're interested in curling or you want to learn about curling, I feel like $4 to the developer is a pretty fair price, or download it for free on Google, learn a little bit, and as soon as the ads start to bother you, either pay to get the ads taken off or uninstall it as you see fit. Um, I don't know that, like I said, I wish there'd be an online mode. I feel like I might up the score a little bit from that, but for a 6 out of 10, it it looks like it does what it promises. I'm looking at the store page and I don't feel like this store page is lying to me about anything that it has to offer. Which, as far as games go on Steam or on the Google Play, that in my book that counts for something. And the fact is, the developer looks like they put out a functional basically how to on curling that also has a little bit of bells and whistles that can benefit people that are interested in learning about it. Now, remember, the views expressed here are purely opinions. We all have different tastes when it comes to our entertainment media, and I will gladly welcome differing opinions and respectful criticism in the comments. For those of you who have purchased or otherwise played this even without the purchase, what are your thoughts? Like somebody fill me in here on anything that I'm missing. Like I said, this is not something that I see myself ever installing or ever playing, but for what the developer has made, I respect that.